when you get my age and our age, some of you are in your 50s and 60s and 70s and on down the line. 50s, okay. He had to say 50. You start releasing and letting go and relinquishing, and there's an art to it. And there is a science, and there is a discipline to letting go. In a sense, letting go is releasing and relinquishing. When you do that, it's a form of forgiveness. You're actually forgiving, which is giving up the right and sometimes the responsibility to be right, or giving up the right to be angry. Not the reason, but the right, or the right to be hurt, or giving up the right to be possessive or controlling, and still holding on to your essence. Allowing, as I alluded to last week, allowing or being brave enough to break your own heart, or to allow your heart to be broken for whatever reason. I've been on this boot for weeks now. They said it would be a 3-week recovery. I had the surgery done to remove a tumor from the bottom of my left foot that had been there for years, but I had managed the pain and, you know, the difficult situation of the light. You shed more light on the subject. Well, there's not that much light outdoors, but this is one of those afternoons you can't wait to get home and just chill, right? I'll be through in a minute, so just don't be rushing me. But there's this, when you forgive, it means to stop feeling angry or resentful towards something or someone, including yourself. A lot of us carry a lot of self-anger, and we perceive ourselves as having a flaw or an offense or a misstep or even a mistake, and we all are constantly sorting through and rearranging our mistakes and managing them, what we perceive to be a mistake, every day, all day long. And letting something go, we don't really always let it go. We just replace it or put it in another place, huh? We don't repair it. What we can't repair, we try to replace, but we spend a lot of time just repairing rather than replacing. And sometimes we misplace, including ourselves, something. So we're adjusting to this position. Again, wearing this boot, they said 3 weeks. It's now going into 9. Actually, the incision has healed, but had to heal from the inside out, not the outside in. So it's still, and then it swells. I could actually walk without the cane, but I stumbled a little bit, and it's the swelling. I can wear a shoe, but I don't have a shoe that my swollen foot fits. And you don't have one for your swollen heart or some injury. The swelling is a result of having been cut to be healed. Last year this time, I was just getting through scar tissue from a procedure I had 12 years ago related to cancer. And I had to let go of the fact that I'm not always the perfect man of faith and power. I still have faith, I still have power, but it's not what I am. To hear my name called in a waiting room when you've come out of the Oral Roberts ministry in the City of Faith, even though we built a hospital, none of us wanted to go to it. And evidently y'all didn't either, because we lost something like $22 million the first year because we didn't know how to bill the patients. I was on the executive committee for that $250 million project. But I'm still proud when I drive by it and see that it's there. But it was hard for me to let go. We moved the hands from the front of the hospital to the front of the university. And as I think I told you once, the right hand for healing and prayer is Oral's literal replica. And the left hand is Dr. Winslow's hand, our medical doctor who was in charge of our School of Medicine. And they're together. But somebody used to say, every time you'd go by there, Oral's hand would go out like, give me a little bit of that money. And I understood that, and I was agreeing with it. Give us all you got, because we had to pay for all that. But letting that go, letting that background go, letting everything I invested go, and still holding on to me, but me in a different light, sitting there watching my daughter play. She did an excellent job. I was very proud of her. I kept telling her that. I went and bought flowers. Even when they wouldn't let me stay, I ran out to get the flowers. I said, well, what time is it over so I can be here and hug her and kiss her and give her some flowers and tell her that I love her. And the lady was just this course. And then last night she said to me, yesterday she said, well, it looks like you got a ticket tonight. And I said, I had a ticket last night. And you fixing to get a ticket because I'm going to arrest you. She was trying to be nice, I guess, but I had to give up the right to explain to her how I stood in line and was told they had no more tickets. And then I got there early and they had one ticket on Friday night. And then I bought 14 for the next day. And they've been selling out, but I want to give her an explanation to explain to her, because she told my daughter, your dad tried to sneak in. That's what she told my daughter. No, you talking about nostrils flaring. I was like, don't you know who I am, lady? I've been in this town 43. I'm bishop. The bishops don't lie. Yes, they do. They lie to get angry, to get mad, and sometimes Carlton will do. Sometimes I don't even want anybody to call me bishop. Just call me Carlton, because I can cuss you out. No, forgiveness is giving up the right to be right or the right to have been right. Did you catch that? Giving up the right to have been right or to supposed to have been right. Letting go and holding on are dual disciplines. David didn't know I was going to say that, but he added that in our exercise as part of what we're doing. Letting go and holding on, two dual disciplines appropriated habitually and really intrinsically as a process or progress of life. It is the process and progress of life to know when and how and what to let go, when and how and what to hold on. And we're sorting through that constantly. It never ends. Everyone in this room is both holding on to and letting go of something in this exact moment. It could be a thought, it could be a perception or an opinion, a relationship, it could be a job, a position on the job, it could be a home, it could be a memory, could be certain aspects of youthfulness. And the list goes on. I have to accept the fact I'm not old, but I'm not as young as I used to be. And you always hear me say, I tell my age, so I face my age. I'm not ashamed or uncomfortable with being 63, and it's not old, and you know it's not old. Especially if you old. I always add that part. But the children it is. Dorothea was talking about her grandson. I've known him since he was almost in diapers. She is olden. But I'll leave the ancient away, but ancient of days. You know, you accept the fact that you're not quite what you used to be. That doesn't diminish you, and it shouldn't demean you. It doesn't even define you. It just describes an experience of yourself that you're having at that particular moment. You got to let that go too. And still, again, hold on to who you are as well as maybe who you aren't. Because living and dying make strange bedfellows. Or are perceived unlikely companions. We perceive living and death or living and dying as unlikely companions or allies, and yet they are inextricably connected to each other and to our cooperative illusions. Our illusions cooperate and hang on with each other. Sometimes you have this really powerful, pure feeling of joy and complete relaxation and contentment and security. Then you have this really wild, crazy feeling of insecurity and threat and peril, and that you're going to lose something, or that you're going to lose your power, or that somebody's taking something from you or has taken something from you, and that you're being victimized. We have a huge struggle with victim consciousness. Letting that go, it may be one of the greatest let goes you'll ever have. Instead of seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances, and you've often heard me say life basically is a sexually transmitted disease or disease. And that's not the best definition of life, but when you think about it, when I say disease, I'm just talking about the tensions of being. Where there's tension, there's attention, and then intention. The question is not the tension or the attention, but what is your intention as a result of the attention that you're given to the tension? Why are you tense about anything? I'm actually having more problem with my ankle because I'm wearing a boot to support a swollen foot, and the swollen foot is a result of an incision that was made at the bottom of the foot. And I actually have pictures of what he took out, which wasn't just the tumor or the cyst, it was stuff around it. Looked like ligaments. It looked like a chicken wing. I'd like to some kind of creature was in there, and it grew, and like an alien came in my foot. So I can walk without it, I can put pressure on it, but it's a little bit worrisome. So what am I letting go? My ego? Men particularly have difficulty admitting that they hurt. The male gender, of our societal male gender, has this macho thing that, it don't nothing hurt me. I'm denim, y'all linen. I can't tell. I can take it. I don't even have to be washed. You don't wash. There was a day back in the 60s where you don't wash the jeans. Oh, excuse me. So you don't remember that? There was a day when you pressed them dirty and they would get stiff and hard. That was cool. Funky, but cool, Well, what is the denim of your soul? What is the denim of yourself? And what is the linen? The lingerie, the part that can be torn. They call it lingerie because that means it's tender and terrible. It can be torn. It's hard to tear denim. But you got to know when to let the denim go and have a legitimate hurt. Newton's law, third law. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. The corresponding fear or illusion, though, is Murphy's law. Anything that can go wrong will. We deal with both of those constantly, all the time, every day. It's an American cultural iconoclasm to hold on. It's a staple in our common consciousness and motivation almost from birth. When you hold on to your mother's breast, or animals if they're fighting for one. Hold on, suck out your life. Hold on, imbibe and ingest energy. Find your space and place. Learn how to beg for it, even if it means we still do that, just with a little more sophistication. As I said last week, we all have navels, which are an indication that we were once connected. But many of us are still connected, especially if your mother is alive and needs attention from you or creates tension for you. As I say, if it ain't one thing, it's your mother. And you deal with all that. But the love, and I'm very attached to my mom. She has 7 children that she birthed, but I'm really inextricably emotionally attached to my mother. And I don't mind saying I'm a mama's boy. I've always been one. I did before that term came out. I don't think there's anything wrong with loving your mother or being her boy. My wife understands that. All my girlfriends understood it. My boyfriends too. I love my mother, and I love the connection that I have to her. But I also know what part to have let go. Talk to me, somebody. You don't abandon certain things. You just know how to relinquish. Take the pressure off. Hold hands gently. Don't squeeze somebody to death trying to protect them. Come on, shake yourself once again. So we naturally hold on to our mother's breast for nourishment. Holding on for dear life is a term of both desperation and strength. It's an act of survival. Letting go, on the other hand, and in some ways, is considered a kind of weakness if you let go. Even for some, it's a sin to let go, to give up. But there comes a time when letting go can actually save your life. Save your sanity, save your brain. Letting go is often a more pronounced discipline. than hanging on. You can hang on habitually. You can hang on naturally. It's just a reaction. Letting go takes discipline, takes thought, takes art, takes grace, takes science. Art just means to be skillful. Science means to have knowledge or to be knowledgeable. Discipline means to be in control of yourself. How do I let this go? What am I needing to let go right now? That was a big step for me last night, driving across the property. I was supposed to go to Harvard, as you know, this week. I changed it till next month because I have to be in New York City on that Wednesday, and I was going to go up a couple of days early. It gets me a little bit more time to get all my stuff. He said, "You letting all that go, all that stuff?" I have thousands of hours of preaching and teaching and video, thousands of feet, tens of thousands of video and film. All that's going to Harvard and then to the Library of Congress and someplace else. But I have control, and yet I'm letting something that's been packed up for 12 years that nobody really cares about anymore. And I'm not sure I do, except it was a precious and pressured memory. Most of your precious memories are pressured memories. Talk to me, somebody. If it's really precious to you, there's some pressure associated with it. How do you manage that? It is literally like a death, which will be followed by some resurrection. As long as you hold on to the past, you are actually obstructing your present, not to mention your future. I believe that the universe or God does use our past sometimes as a rehearsal for our future, but I don't get locked into that particular image of who I used to be, because that was a wonderful experience of my life. I'm too old to get uptight about stuff. Just let the shift, S-H-I-F-T, happen. Turn to someone and say, let the shift happen. As long as there's holy shift. I sanctify mine. I make it holy. I allow it to be holy. I don't believe so much in mistakes, just misinterpretations of certain realities. Everything counts. It's all working together for a higher purpose, a higher cause, a higher reasoning, a higher logic. Just think of the stuff you've already been through and survived. Turn to someone and say, you are looking at number one survivalist. Say it. Say, I've been through some shift. I have been through. So in this day of ongoing change and evolution, we must all learn the art, the discipline, and the science of letting go. When I say art, again, it's an expression or application of human creative skill. The creative skill of letting go, and the imaginations. It's creative skill and imagination to let some things go. A broken heart, a broken home, a lost job, a lost loved one, loss of weight, gain of weight. The image you had of your skin before it had wrinkles, your hair before you lost hair, the thighs and the lies. I mean, all of them. All of them working in there together. Your sensuality, your sexuality, your sociology, and your spirituality. How do you work through all of those? Because they all have a profound and pronounced existence in your life. And you mustn't demean or diminish either of them, even if sometimes they diminish on their own. Shake your hand on that one again. Science, again, I said that's the knowledge, that's the intellectual and practical activity that encompasses the systematic study. I'm still investigating, interrogating, and excavating my own self, Barbara. I'm still, John down here, John just lost, how many sisters have, he's the baby boy in his family. All of his sisters are in their 80s and 90s. So one of his sisters just transitioned 2 days ago, I think, Friday, so he's got to go. The last time he went, Sarah's sister, they went to bury her, and while he was there, I think that's the way it was, John's sister, another one of his sisters, and at that age, he's the last one, he's the baby, he's in his 70s. Now, he has to know that anytime he gets a phone call, because last week they thought she was going, and then all of a sudden she woke up, and didn't she ask for something, raised her hand, praised God, and her family got excited that they had prayed her back. She was 85 or something like that. And then this week she's gone. Now, even saying my faith kept her alive. How long? Well, my dad was 88, and my mother was believing God was going to keep him here. I said, Mama, how much longer? He's 88. He hasn't even ate or eaten in weeks. But it's hard for her to let go. It's still a little bit hard. So now, as I told you, they've got the grave marker sitting up in the yard out there, propped up with daddy, mom. It says Pearson's real big, so they ordered it before they decided to be cremated. So now it's in the yard, and it's pretty, but it ain't that pretty. It's not like I'm eager, because I don't go to cemeteries anyway. I mean, I have plots. I'm trying to get y'all want anybody want a plot? I can sell you some plots. I got 3 or 4 of them I don't need. I gave one to my grandfather, and I'm liable to give you one. But the whole idea of dying and living and giving and releasing and relinquishing and letting go and making the necessary adjustments for things that die in your life is a science. It is, you study yourself. I believe in autopsical living. I made the word autopsical up. I can do that when something dies, study not only what killed them, but what caused the disease. If a ministry or a marriage or a business dies, sometimes you want to do an autopsy. Auto means self-examination. Examine it yourself. What went wrong or awry? Don't just say she died of cancer. What caused the cancer? Had a heart attack and died. Dropped it. What caused? What was he or she doing or not doing? Sometimes it's very natural. But just do a little bit of investigative study so that you learn how to live more healthily. Talk to me, somebody, again. It's all right to do some self-examination, because you keep expanding and you keep expelling, if you will, and you keep growing and you keep unfolding infinitely. And then you learn how to deal with your wild, reckless side. The part of you that is untamed, letting go of trying to control your own personal flagrant arrogance or your over certitude. There's a part of you that doesn't give a dime. Did I spell it right? Or a penny or a nickel. You don't get. Read between the lines. There's a part of you that just doesn't care, and part of that part of you needs to stay alive. You need to accept the fact that originally they say we all came here naked, which doesn't just mean nudity. It means consciousness. The same Hebrew word for naked is the same word for subtle or crafty. When it says the serpent was more crafty or naked, that word is arum. Adam and Eve were naked and felt no shame. Scripture. Adam and Eve were conscious, aware, cunning, alert. And they weren't bashful about it. Look at me when I tell you this is my final comment. You really do know. You're very cunning, very smart, very alert, just not necessarily always alarmed. You know you're okay. You just don't always believe it. You know you're secure. You just don't always believe it. You got this. You know you got it. You know you're cool. You know you're smart. You know you're good looking. You know you're stable. Where? Turn to somebody and say, I got this. I really do. I don't always believe it, and you don't always believe it, but I've got it. I'm still here. I've lasted. I'm holding on and I'm letting go at the same time. I don't have any illusions about this. My untamed, unrestrained, excessive soul is a reality in my life. And sometimes I let it go. Get those hands up. Come on, like this. Shake that energy around again and say, yeah. Hey, 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 hey. Say it's all right. Say it's all right. All right. ride. Yeah, yeah. Loose yourself, free yourself. Yeah, yeah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Since I laid my burden down there, glory, glory, hallelujah. Since I laid my
We are your church, and we are proud to be your church, or at least a church that's having a positive impact on your life. I am personally blessed to be your minister, or at least a minister who you're allowing to speak into your life. I hope you'll support our ministry and share your love beyond belief by texting LOVEBB to 41444 or go to our website. But you can just text LOVEBB to 41444 and make your gift. It's wonderful. Thank you. Be blessed and be a blessing.